everyone, what is up? It is Fixing It Together with Sandra, and I'm Sandra. I am so excited to be doing today's tutorial because this is something that I've been wanting to do for months, and I'm not even joking, for months. As you can see, we are back in the kitchen. We are going to be doing some baking today. I have the AC in my kitchen because it is going to be well over 100 today. So that's one of the reasons why we kind of like backed off of the cooking, because my kitchen was just so hot. This is at the back of the house. I live in an old house, yada, yada, yada. It's hot. So today we are going to be making my one favorite treat, but I have never made this recipe before. So please forgive any mistakes that I make through this video. We are making strawberry and rhubarb pie. That is right, guys. It has taken me forever to find rhubarb. Here, I didn't want it frozen. I wanted it fresh. I'm just trying to like adjust my apron. I wanted it fresh. I was finally able to get my hands on it. So today is the day we're gonna be making pie. So we are going to start out with making a pie crust. And I do want to say that this recipe that I'm going to be doing is from Zoë Bakes on the Magnolia Network, which is on the Discovery Plus app. I know that was a lot, but that's where I got it. If you want to go and download this recipe, if you're like, I need to try a strawberry rhubarb pie, it's incredible. I love rhubarb. It's kind of tart and tangy, and then it mixes with the sweetness of strawberries. It's delicious. I absolutely love it. But I think you can just go on to Zoë Bakes, Z-O-E Bakes, and then just type in her strawberry rhubarb pie, and you should be able to print out this exact recipe. She has her own channel. She has her own show on the Magnolia Network. It premieres July 15th. I cannot wait. I'm chomping at the bit because I want to see more of her recipes. So like I said, today we are going to be doing pie crust. Or, I'm sorry, the pie. But right now we're going to be doing pie crust. So let's go ahead and get started. Now, I like to buy store-bought pie. I'm going to bring this down just so you guys can see what I'm doing. La la. So I am one that likes to have store-bought pie crust because I'm just not good at this. But Zoe has convinced me that I am good at this. So let's get started. So like I said, we're going to be starting with the pie dough. I do have my recipe right here. And for those who are intimidated with pie dough as well, we're gonna do this together, okay? So she uses, which I'm super excited about, she actually uses a scale when she's measuring out her ingredient, which is basically the way that I would like to bake. You just get more of an exact recipe. So you don't, I know a lot of people, when it comes to flour, there are people who scoop, I'm looking for a place to put this. There are people who scoop into their measuring cup like with a spoon, and then there are some people who just take their measuring cup directly into the container, which is you get different amounts when doing that. So right now we're going to do 375 grams of flour, which should be about 3 cups. So let's see what we get in this bowl. So 375 is what we're looking for. Okay, so we got 250. All right. All right, if you like these little bowls that I'm using, I got these at IKEA. They were so cheap and they're amazing. I love to use them for like things like this. Perfect. All right, so we've got 375 grams of all-purpose flour into our bowl. And then we're gonna do 1.5 teaspoons of salt. And I've always been told never measure out your ingredients over the bowl that you are putting them into, because in case you have a spillage, you won't have to throw out, you know, all of what you've done already. Okay, there we go. So we have our salt, and I always like to put my ingredients behind me once I use them, just so I know that I've used them. And then we're going to do 2 tablespoons of sugar, which I have right here. A little bit of vodka in there, so 1, and then 2. All right. We're going to mix this all together. I'm really hoping, you know, that because I'm doing this with you guys, that we are going to get like the perfect pie crust. So you're going to mix your dry ingredients together, and then you're going to set this aside. And then we're going to do our butter and our shortening. So we are going to use, it says 1 cup of unsalted butter. So that's 226 grams. Now I can just measure out, because you know all the butter does have markings on it for the measurements, but because she has the grams on here, I'm just like, you know what, we're just gonna roll with that, and we're gonna chop it up. We're gonna cut up our butter into tiny cubes. This is gonna make it so much easier to work with when we're putting it into our flour mixture. You tear that one out. And so, like I said, we're gonna go for 226. So I'm pretty much sure that we're gonna use this entire stick. And you want this butter to be ice cold. So if it's not ice cold right now, you're gonna stick it in the fridge to chill it so it is nice and cold. So that gave me about 109 grams, and like I said, we want to do 226, so we're going to do a little bit, so it's supposed to be half a cup. Oh, okay, so I never really pay attention to the measurements, so this should be both, but I just, you know, just out of curiosity, what does this give me? All right, let's see. Is this really 226? Is this really a true cup? Ah. So 218. So I need a little bit more butter, which I'm going to grab right out of the fridge. 1 second. I figured that it would have been enough, but this is what happens when you measure. With grams. Okay, so I've got just a little bit of butter here on this plate. Let's just add, this one's really cold. Perfect. All right, so now that we have our butter measured out, we're gonna move that to the side. We're gonna put this back into the refrigerator just so it stays nice and cold, because that's what gives you a really nice pie crust. And then we're gonna do our shortening. Now, our shortening, we want half a cup, we want 85 grams. So we're just gonna use let's see what we got here. 83, 76. What did it, 85, so that's 84. Let's give it a little bit. Perfect. All right, now we do want our shortening cold as well, so we're gonna pop this in the fridge and let this chill while we do our other steps. So now the next thing is to do, we're going to be adding the butter. We're going to let it chill for just about 5 to 10 minutes, and then we're going to come back and we're going to put it into our flour, and then add the shortening and then our water mixed with a little vodka, just so it doesn't, the vodka, from what I understand, what she had said on her video, is to make sure that the pie crust doesn't get oversaturated. It's a tip. So I'll be right back. All right, I am back, and the butter and the shortening have both been in the fridge. So they're nice and cold. I'm just gonna get my pastry blender right here, and we're now going to add, we're gonna add one ingredient at a time. We're gonna go ahead and add the butter into here, and then after we have this nice and blended, we're gonna add the shortening, then we'll add a little bit of our ice cold water. So there we go. You can use your hands. I'm gonna start out with my pastry blender, just kind of breaking this butter up. I don't really like to use my hand too much, especially for things where your butter needs to be cold, because the heat of your hand will melt the butter. So I like to try and use my pastry blender as much as possible, although sometimes I do get tired of using it, and then I will eventually break down and use my hand. But you're just gonna make sure that all of this flour gets nice and blended with the butter. You want it to come out to about pea size. You want the butter to be about pea size when you get done. Let me bring you guys in closer. Okay, now you can really see what I'm doing. So yeah, you just kind of want to break this down into pea-sized little bites, and it'll make this is going to make the crust nice and flaky and buttery and oh so good. So it's starting to really break down, which is nice, and I like to scrape my pastry blender clean every now and then. You don't have to do that. That's just something that I prefer. All right, so now that we have the butter, into like smaller pieces, it's not completely done yet. We're gonna go ahead and add the, I'm like, wait a minute here. And then we're gonna add the shortening. I think did she forget a step? Yeah, okay, so I am looking at this and I'm just double checking. I'm double checking her recipe because she does tell us to put the oh goodness. Okay, so she does tell us, okay, because I've watched the tutorial on TV, that you're not gonna see this step in the recipe. I might have to write, I'm gonna see if I can leave a comment to let her know that she forgot to add the step of adding in the shortening. So because I've watched the episode, I know this is how she does it. So just go ahead and roll with me. We're gonna now add the shortening. I keep going over it hoping that maybe I'm just, trying to, what is it called? Multitask, and I'm just like skipping over it. Interesting. Okay, so this is what you're gonna do, again, till everything is bite size, or I keep saying bite size, till it's pea size. And then probably in the next couple, of this, I might just go ahead and get down in there with my hands, because we're gonna add some water to this. Oh my gosh, this feels so rich. It's all nice and soft from all of the oils in here, from the shortening and from the butter. I'm excited to see how this is going. Oh wow, I'm really excited to see how this is going to come out because I usually hate making pie crust. She did say, you know, you want it to stick together like that. Okay, so now we're going to add a little bit of water. So she did do a water, and this has vodka in it as well. She said that's what helps make it into a flakier kind of crust. Again, I'm all about it. Tell me what I need to do to have a super flaky crust. So I'm just adding a little bit of water and at a time because I don't want to saturate this, and this is already really soft. So I'm super excited. And then we are going to be doing a lattice design on here. I watched her do it on her show, and I don't know if it says it like how to do the lattice one, but we'll do that. So just get this all nice and mixed. Now what she said to do, this is how she did it. So because I am no pie crust expert, I'm just going to go with exactly what I saw. We're going to dump this out. We're going to dump this onto a mat that I'll explain what it is in just a second. And we're just going to kind of squish this together and just work it like this. She did have, this is how she did not make a mess. Don't want to get it too soggy. And she just used the water right there on top, a pastry blender, and then just went over it and over it. You can see how this is too sticky right there. I think we got enough water in this. There we go. And then we're going to divide this dough in half. We might have to add a hair more flour to this. All right, I have a wild mess here. All right, we are going to put this back into our bowl. I'm gonna clean this up and wash my hands so we can cut this in half. Just grab this off the counter. There we go. All right. Now we have less of a mess. All right. I did think that we needed just a hair bit more flour. Okay, so now that we've got our ball, we're going to just add a little flour right here because we're gonna cut this in half and then get it back into the fridge. And what she said to do, cut it in half. And then she said, make it into a disc like this. And then we're going to stick it in the fridge. And then let it chill for about an hour. And then we'll come back to this. We're going to wrap it in saran wrap. Get that bad boy into saran wrap. Get this one into the fridge. That's going to be our bottom crust, and then this is going to be our top crust. And we're going to keep our fingers crossed that we did not add too much water, and this will come out super delicious and flaky. All right. There we go. Now let's let it hang out in the fridge for about an hour. All right, so now it's been a couple of hours, so we're going to go ahead and roll out our pie crust. And I am super excited about this part because I'm going to try making a a weave for the very first time. So I'm excited. Let's get started. I'm gonna point the camera down. Make sure that you really flour. From what I understand, you're supposed to really flour the area that you're gonna be rolling your pie crust out onto. All right, let's get you guys down as far as you can, not being crooked. All right, this is a great view. Okay, let's do this. So we're gonna take the first one. Okay, so she's like this. This is what she does. I'm just, okay. All right. Don't want my pie crust to crack. So now I'm gonna take my rolling pin. So I didn't know that you kind of roll up instead of down because you don't, I don't want my pie crust to crack. You don't want the edge to be too thin. So I hope you guys are wishing me luck with this. She said to turn every so often. That way you know your pie crust is not gonna stick. See, this is what my biggest fear is. Cracks in my crust. But apparently this will be a delicious crust. Okay, let's just keep this going. I need to not be so intimidated by pie crust. I would save a lot of money because I buy a lot of pre-made pie crust. And I'm trying to get it into the nicest circle. Oh, see there, it's stuck to my rolling pin. Not good. Not good. Let's get that little bad boy back on there and okay. Let's see. Do you think maybe a couple more rolls? Now, I'm going to cheat by doing this and praying that my pie crust has not stuck underneath, which I think it has. And this is the frustrating part. See, all right, let's start over, y'all. Okay, time to start all over. This will be fun. I don't want to melt my butter, so I'm trying not to like use my hands too much. And I'm just constantly trying to move my dough. You don't. I see like little dough particles right here. Kind of move that off. And you know what? Let's try something different. I'm gonna get some parchment paper, which is right here. Let's see if this helps. Maybe my countertop is something that's just like way too sticky. Okay. Oh, all right. Let's try this one more time. For the cheap seats in the back, let's try this again. And I'm well aware that I do not have my apron on and that my shirt, oh, much better. Oh, love it. Okay. You should definitely not wear black and work with flour. Okay. Very nice, very nice. Now, if this can only be folded into fours, and we can get it into our pie dish. Oh, it's starting to stick. All right, y'all. I think, excuse me, I think we are good. So now, hopefully this will work. Okay, y'all, pay attention to what I'm doing. All right. Perfect. I think I may have figured out how to do a pie crust. Okay, it's a little uneven. And I need to have like a little bit of give. Let's pinch this together. Okay. Well, good thing we're gonna do, I definitely need more pie crust, so I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna cheat right there. I'm probably like a baker's, if they're watching this, like a true baker's worst nightmare right now. Because this is how I'm gonna bake this. All right. Not too shabby, I guess you could say. All right, we did it. And now we're just gonna work with this. So we're gonna put this back into the fridge and let this stay cold until we're ready to fill it. All right, while our other dough is in the refrigerator staying, or our pie crust, not our dough, our pie crust staying nice and cool, we are going to attempt to make the top. We're gonna do like a lattice, and we're gonna hopefully succeed on this one. All right, so now this part looked really cool. This is basically, besides loving rhubarb, one of the main reasons why I wanted to make this recipe. So she actually does this part of it on a piece of paper like this. All right. So we're just gonna roll this out if this paper can stay still. Oop. As you can see, this is super fun to roll out pie crust. I'm like, I might just have to stick to Safeway, unless this is like so unbelievably delicious that you know you have to make this again. Okay, let's get a nice circle. We can call this whatever. All right. think we're getting somewhere. Definitely not a circle, but it's good. All right. Now let me get my roller. Like, you have to just see if this even works. Let me just see if I'm able to do this. Now this is a real cooking show. This is where like you see like all of the the fails, and not just the perfect picture. Ah, look at that. Now we have a circle. Now we've got it. So now what we're gonna do, this is what she does. She rolls thin slices. You can do whatever size you want. You just want to make sure that you stick with the same size for each roll, for each cut, I mean. I wish I had an accordion one of these, where there's like 5 little blades on one and you can get precise cuts. But I'm not a true baker, obviously, or else I would own one of those. Okay, so this is what we're doing. And, you know, I'm not even mad at myself for this, because I think I'm doing not too shabby when it comes to creating a pie crust. I think most definitely, like I said, unless this tastes incredibly delicious, we are going to be working with Safeway pie crust. Okay, there we go. Now, wash our hands. We're going to get another piece of parchment paper. You can get parchment paper at the dollar store. So what she did, she took the center one. Let's pray they come up nice. And she does this, you can most definitely do this with, like, on top of the pie. She said that, Zoe said that this is good to do not on a pie when you're dealing with like berries and whatnots. Okay, that is why we are doing it like this. All right, there we go. Now we're going to take every other one and place it like this. All right. This is what intrigued me about baking, is that I like pretty things, and I'm like, okay, let's see what we got here. It's definitely not going to be the most beautiful pie, but it sure is going to taste good with that strawberry and rhubarb, promise. All right, so this is what we're going to do. We're going to continue this pattern. Now, if you guys watch Zoë Bakes on the Magnolia Network, you know I have nothing on her. She does this, she makes this look so graceful and so beautiful. I'm simply somebody who's never made a pie like this in my life. All right, and then this. Nope. See? This one. Okay. And then this one. And I think we might be good. Watch me not have enough pie crust. That would be hilarious. Okay, so now this goes like this, kind of. Not too close, I didn't mean to get too close. So now what you're gonna do is you're gonna flip this one up halfway. You're gonna flip every other one up. All right, and then we're gonna put this center one, oh my, right across. Put that little beauty right back there. And then you're just, you can see how much fun homemade pie crust is. This is gonna be basically glued together. And it's not even that hot in my kitchen right now. Okay, there we go. And then you're gonna pick up these. I kind of do want this moved over, I guess. And then you're gonna want this one to come up, and then this one to come up, and then this one to come up. And then we're gonna take this one and lay that right there. So it's not gonna be a super tight lattice like she does, but it'll be lattice. All right, then we're gonna go and do, we're just gonna keep repeating this over and over until we get our lattice. We are just about done with this pie crust. Okay, I think we're about done with this. I've had all the fun that I want to with this pie crust. Ba-bam. There we go. Now we are going to stick this in to the fridge while we make our rhubarb pie. And actually, I'm just gonna, wait, stick that one last one. Okay, we're just piecing this stuff together now. Like, it's not even a thing. There we go. All right, so now we're gonna go ahead and make our mixture. I've already saved you, I've spared you from having to watch me cut up the rhubarb and the strawberries. And right now I have about 2 pounds of strawberries and then 12 ounces of rhubarb. And just in case people don't know what rhubarb is, this is what it looks like. It's kind of speckled inside, it's white on the outside. Like I said, this is very tart. And the sweetness from the strawberries is what's going to cut it down. So my pan is warm. We're going to go ahead and dump the strawberries in. And we're going to mix this with, a little bit of vanilla and then let it cook till it becomes soft. Let me grab my teaspoon. So we're going to do about 2. And I know people are going to be like, oh my gosh, she's not using a real teaspoon. It's okay. Now with fresh strawberries, you want to cook them down and kind of break them apart, smash them a little. If you're using frozen strawberries, you don't have to worry about this step. And I do apologize, I do have the air on, so you might be hearing that. But we're just going to let this cook and simmer till it gets to the strawberries get soft, and then we're going to add our rhubarb and also our 1 cup of sugar and a 1/4 cup of cornstarch. We're going to mix this together. And the cornstarch is to thicken this up so it's not so runny, because we're going to have a lot of juice from the strawberry and from the rhubarb. So this is going to make it a little thicker. We're just going to get this together. All right, let these strawberries cook down real nice. Kind of squish them a little bit. Squish them down to your preference. If you want like a chunkier, pie filling, then don't do it too much. But if you want like a more, mushy pie, then really get them nice and smashed up. All right, this smells so good. I cannot wait to share this with my friends, because I have people that I know that have never had rhubarb, and so I can't wait for them to taste this. And of course, my pie crust. And then now we're just gonna add our rhubarb. Got this kind of 50% smashed down. Like, I don't want it too smashed. Like, I still want it to have like nice chunks. I got it like this. And now we're gonna add the rhubarb. Turn this up to about medium heat. We're gonna turn that up to, and we're not gonna smash the rhubarb. We're gonna leave that whole. And then we are going to add the sugar mixture to the strawberries. Just grab a wooden spoon. Oh, I love the smell of strawberries with sugar, especially warm strawberries with sugar. Okay. There we go. And then we're going to add our mixture. Right there. And this air conditioner is like blowing right onto the stove, so it's kind of blowing a little bit of the sugar and powder mixture. Now this is going to get a translucent color. I always have trouble saying that, but I'm going to show you. I'm going to point the camera down so you can see what we're. Now this lattice is not pretty. I'm going to tell you that right now. This is what it looks like, and we're going to get this into the freezer for a little bit. And then we're gonna take it out and then put it on top of our pie. So here is what the strawberry and rhubarb mixture looks like. You're gonna cook it till it gets about translucent and has thickened. And then we're gonna let this cool, and then we're gonna put it into our pie crust. Okay, so here you can see, I'm gonna try to not get my finger into the way, but it's almost jelly-like. It's very thick, which is what I want for a pie. The pot would quit spinning. And the rhubarb is, I would say, medium when it comes to the firmness. And then I'm gonna go ahead and pull this off the stove and let it cool. All right, everyone. I hate to say this, but the part of me filling the pie didn't record. But let me just explain it to you. So I filled the pie with the strawberry and rhubarb filling. Then I took the slightly frozen lattice that I had done and slid it on top of the pie. There was, of course, too much, you know, so I just took a pair of pastry scissors and just went around and cut it. Believe me, this is not perfect by any means, but I want to give you guys a closer look because you're able to see the butter in here, and that's what you want because that's what's gonna give you a flakier crust. I already have the oven preheated to 425 degrees. We're gonna start out baking it at that temperature, and then we're gonna lower it, I believe, after about half an hour. But let's get a closer look. All right, do you see all those specks of butter in there? That's gonna be so good. So like I said, I've got my oven preheated to 425, and we're gonna go ahead and pop this baby in and pray that she comes out delicious. All right, I did forget one important step. You wanna do an egg wash on top. Just lightly, you know, get the egg wash on there. And then we're gonna sprinkle it with a little bit of sugar. Like I said, we're gonna keep our fingers crossed. But you can't go wrong with anything with sugar, right? Well, let me take that back, you can. All right, now it's time to pop it in the oven. So while we're waiting for the pie to finish baking, I did want to show you this because I briefly mentioned it when I was rolling out the pie crust. This mat came with, I bought a stainless steel rolling pin, and this came with it. I love this mat. First of all, it sticks to your counter, okay? And it has all the measurements, everything on here, like, you know, how to roll out your pie crust. It is just a great little mat to have for me because I'm a beginner baker, I guess you can say. And so, yeah, it's kind of like the same as those baking mats. It's like silicone, that's what it is. It's a silicone mat. And I really, really love this. So again, I got this on Amazon, so check it out. This is the brand if you need something like this. Ladies and gentlemen, here is my strawberry rhubarb pie. It is still a bubbling. I just took it out of the oven. So I baked it at 425 for 30 minutes. And then I reduced it down to 375 for about 45 minutes. And this is what I have. So the lattice actually, to me, looks really good. So I'm not complaining. The only thing is now, how does it taste? That's my ice machine making that noise. So, okay, how does this taste? We will soon find out. Okay, fingers crossed that this comes out as beautiful as I would like it to, and that the pie crust is done. Oh, I'm so nervous. This will actually either make or break this tutorial because it means either I will create it or not. Okay. All right, now it's a goopy pie. I get it. It's a goopy pie. Not too shabby. It's still a little warm, so let's see how it tastes. All right, guys, so I'm taking my first bite of this. I'm so nervous. Okay. Okay. This is delicious. Wow. This pie crust is so flaky, it basically disintegrates once it's in your mouth. That's the kind of pie crust I like. Even like, wow. All right. Zoë Bakes knows exactly what she's talking about. So if you are looking for a super delicious, very summery kind of pie, I recommend this recipe so much. Zoë Bakes. There'll be a description. I'm sorry, there won't be a link. Yeah, there'll be a link in the description box. That's what I meant to say. This is incredible. So, yeah, let's eat. And of course, if you like this tutorial, give it a thumbs up. I know I'm not the best baker. This is just to kind of like break the ice, because I know so many people are intimidated with baking. I am, but I'm like, you know what? Let's just do it. And I'm so happy that I did, because that is incredible. But anyways, give this tutorial a thumbs up. Make sure that you're subscribed to my channel as well, and hit that notification bell. That way when I do tutorials like this or any other tutorial, you're gonna get notified. I'm gonna start slicing up this pie and handing it out to my friends and family. So I'm super excited. This turned out. I'm definitely gonna make this again. I'm gonna practice on my lattice work. I'm gonna practice on my pie crust. I'm gonna get this thing. Before you know it, it'll be Sandra the Baker. So anyways, thanks you guys for watching, and I will see you guys again in my next tutorial.